A family that loved to play with psychic energy. My mother's side of the family, she was my grandmother there was very much into psychic energy herself. I had an aunt that married into the family also that was psychic and for a few years worked as a professional psychic. So it was not uncommon for family gatherings for them to play with psychic energy in some way. Usually it was through table tipping seances. And then I like to say, meanwhile, us grandkids are upstairs in Grandma and Grandpa's room trying to levitate each other with two fingers. So it was more of a playful thing, more of, and that's how I've always approached it in my own life as more of a playful thing, more of a validation with your higher self.
And was there ever a point in your time where your psychic abilities actually helped you or saved you for something or did anything that helped you in your life? Or would you say has helped you immensely in your life?
I would definitely say me going through my training and becoming a professional psychic now definitely changed me, definitely put me on a much better path this lifetime. I have had a history of drug and alcohol abuse. I can honestly state now that I'm clean, that I don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, but yeah, so it's helped me through to realize the power of my own self, the power of my God. Have I had anything? There's always been psychic experiences throughout my life. I don't know if anything has necessarily, I would state it has saved my life or anything like that. But yeah, I've always had psychic experiences.
And what made you decide to become a professional reader?
It was inspiration through God. Sat down, done a meditation one evening, and asked God what I needed to do to be happy in life. And He showed me going to a training center, spending 3 years of my life, and then becoming a psychic.
And can we talk about Chesterfield? That's where you did your training? And
Sure.
you said you spent 3 years there?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get one of the two apartments on the grounds, lived on the grounds for 3 years. Got to study basically every day with different teachers. I don't have my official paperwork through them, but yes, I got to study for 3 years on the grounds.
So what was it like to be on the grounds of Chesterfield?
What was it like?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the first thing I would say to anybody is nothing like what you ever think it's going to be. In a situation like that, you have the mediums that live on the grounds also. So they can range anywhere between, I'd say, early 40s up until their 80s, 90s. So you would see a lot of the young ones out and about, but the older ones you don't get to see as often. A lot of them don't do any type of service anymore. It's just kind of like their retirement place, if you will. So as a young person studying, it can be frustrating because you're wanting to learn from as many different people as you can, but yet half of them don't want to come out and teach. So.
And what kind of activities did you do at Chesterfield?
When you go through to study, you're basically taking development classes, as in psychic development classes, and then there is other what they would call seminar classes that you can take, which is where you could learn everything from church rules and ethics to who your spirit guides are, so you can get into more specific information. But for the most part, it was through psychic development classes.
Do you find a lot of psychics like to go to training camps, or do a lot of them do it on their own without training?
To be very honest with you, for psychic is pretty much everybody's own spiritual journey through it all. Some people choose not to go through an institution, become ordained in a certain faith or a certain practice. A lot of people, especially for the psychic world, official paperwork is not required. So just about anybody can do it. So you'll find people that have not been through a training center at all.
What would you consider your specialties in psychic ability?
My specialty, I guess I would honestly state it as proving to people their ability to communicate with the spirit world also.
So you teach classes here at New Age People. What days are they? And
I teach a psychic development class on Thursday evenings from 5:30 until 7. And then we also do the same class on the third Saturday of each month. And then I also teach such any other psychic classes, such as say a tarot class or meet your spirit guides, how to work with crystals and stones.
And do you find that you have a lot of the same people in the class, or do you draw a lot of different people, or how do the classes work?
With the psychic development class, it's a lot of the same people. A development class gives you the ability to come in, develop friendship with a group of people. And when you sit down to give, the purpose of the development class is to sit down and give messages to each other, basically. Okay? By giving a reading as a series of messages put together. Okay? So when you are in a development class, you develop a friendship with the people that attend regularly, and it just gives you the ability to build up your confidence that the information that you are receiving is from the spirit world, not just something that you're making up.
And as you develop in your psychic ability, what would you like for people to understand about a psychic?
My purpose of doing this is to get people to understand that you don't need to come and see me, that you have this ability for your own self. If I can be a reader, if I can read psychic energy, then anybody on this planet should be able to read psychic energy. I'm not special for who I am or what I do. Anybody can go through some training and learn what their ability allows them to do.
How do you normally do a psychic reading?
For myself, I like to label myself as a psychic medium, first of all, meaning that if you don't understand the psychic world, there is psychics and mediums and people who can read other people's energy. A psychic is basically somebody that's going to predict your future, and they're going to use a tool of some sort, whether they be tarot cards, clairvoyant, or numerology, or astrology, or yarrow stick, something like that. And then mediums are people that communicate with the spirit world, with the other side. So a psychic is not necessarily a medium, but a medium can be a psychic if the spirit world wishes to predict the future. I myself don't necessarily like to wait for the other side to come through with the information, so I like to use the psychic ability along with the mediumship ability. So if one comes in for a standard quick 15-minute reading, I'm taking more of a psychic approach to that reading, meaning that we're going to look at more of their earthbound energy, their job, money, love and romance, things like that. If they sign up for a longer time period of a reading, that's when I play more of the medium to talk to the spirit world, to talk to their loved ones in the spirit world, and convey that information back to the person I'm reading.
And how does a spirit show itself to you?
It can happen through what we call clairvoyance, clairaudience, or clairsentience. Clairvoyance is clear seeing through the third eye. Clairaudience is clear hearing. And then clairsentience is clear feeling upon the body. There's also clairambience, which is clear tasting, and I forget the fifth one, but basically our 5 physical senses are also in the spirit world. So you have sight, see, taste, touch.
And when a spirit comes to you, how do you identify them?
It's through the energy itself. Not every time that I communicate with the spirit world do I receive it clairvoyantly or do I receive it clairaudiently. I may read for one person and their grandmother come through and communicate to me clairaudiently to where I can hear what they're saying. The next person that I read for, their grandmother may come in and I just may experience the energy. I just may feel it upon my body, a clear sense of understanding. So I'm not necessarily seeing images from them or even them themselves, and I may not be hearing anything. It's just an inner sense of knowing.
And what kind of advice would you give someone who is beginning to understand that they have some psychic ability, and what would be a course to follow?
First, start reading. One's first course of action should always pick up a book to make sure you learn the basic standards. Second, I would encourage a development class. And anytime that anybody ever works with psychic energy, I always encourage prayer. Prayer is the strongest form of protection for yourself. If we say a prayer before we communicate with the spirit world or before we flip over the tarot cards, you're basically asking God for protection. So you're going to have the highest, strongest possible positive energy come in.
For those people who doubt psychic ability, what would you like to tell them?
One should always have a great deal of skepticism. It's very easy for anybody to sit on this side of the table and tell you what they think that you want to know. So therefore, when you go to a psychic or a medium, you should approach it with some form of skepticism to it. At the same token, don't go into the reading expecting to hear your loved ones say the exact same thing that they would have told you when you're living. I may not know the exact words that your father may have said to you, so I'm going to experience it in a roundabout way, but the meaning should still be conveyed through it. So don't put any limits up there. Go in with an open heart and open mind, experience it, walk away from the reading, If you feel like at a time period later on that the information that was coming through was correct and it was validated in your life, then to me that is positive reading them.